Repeat with me the word acronyms. 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 I want you to think about acronyms. Acronyms are abbreviated words formed by taking the first letters of a longer phrase or title. United States of America, USA. USA is the acronym, United States of America. North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. NATO is the acronym for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. PTA for Parent Teacher Association, right? PTA is the acronym for Parent Teacher Association. VIPS, VIPS, is the acronym for Volunteers in Public Schools, right? You got acronyms? Acronyms. Acronyms. The military routinely uses acronyms. Two acronyms commonly used by military tactical forces, those mean units that are designed and organized to be in direct contact with opposing forces, are SITREP. Say SITREP. 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 There you go. That means situation report. And SPOT-REP. Say SPOT-REP. SPOT-REP. SPOT-REP is spot report. SPOTREP. I served in the Army, so my understanding of SITREP and SPOT-REP comes from that experience. A SITREP is a report issued by a tactical unit to a higher command about the status of that unit and its operational situation at 12-hour intervals at 6 a.m. and at 6 p.m. For those of you who know military, that's at 0600 hours and 1800 hours, 1800 hours and 0600 hours. At 0600 hours and 1800 hours, every day, tactical unit in theater, in the field, gives a SITREP, gives a report about its situation to higher command, okay? You got SITREP in mind. I'm not going to give you the breakdown of all that goes in SITREP, but there's a breakdown, the stuff we have to tell you. And it can happen very fast, SITREP. SPOT-REP, on the other hand, is a report issued by a unit to pass along information to higher command about an immediate tactical situation. Remember, SITREP is once every 12 hours, 6 a.m., 6 p.m. But what if something happens at 10 o'clock in the morning? What if at 10 o'clock in the morning we see a convoy of tanks coming? We issue a SPOT-REP. It is an immediate report about what we see happening right then. It's supposed to be within a minute or two after you get the report. You make a SPOT-REP. So the higher command can know that the situation that was existed at 6 o'clock has changed. And that stuff is going on that higher command has to know about, but also that unit is dealing with. Because at 10 o'clock, the situation for that unit now has changed. If there's a tank column coming, then the unit has to decide, do we going to move? Are we going to remain in place? Are we going to observe? Are we going to advance? What are we going to do? SITREP, SPOT-REP. You got it? Been to the Army? You're out now. Psalm 46 resembles a SITREP. The psalmist is giving a situation report. And the psalmist proclaims God to be a refuge, a place for shelter from danger, and strength, a protector, a guardian, a champion against threatening forces. The psalmist describes the situation using words that mention a dangerous and a fearful environment marked by dangerous ground and water. Look at this. Though the earth should change, though the mountains quake in the heart of the sea, though the sea's waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble with its tumult. Verses 2 and 3. Earth and water moving, changing, unstable. People who have experienced earthquakes and explosions, and people who've been on boats and ships during violent storms, know those are dangerous and fearsome situations. We do not associate shaking ground and rolling water with safety, but with danger. When the earth starts moving and water starts rolling, we need shelter. We need a safe harbor. We need to be someplace where the ground isn't moving beneath us and the water isn't boiling around us. It is not unfair, it is not inaccurate to describe our present situation, our sit rep, as dangerously unsettling for many people. For many people, the environment is unsettling and unsteady. Distrust in political institutions was high before November 8th, when Donald Trump was elected to become the 45th President of the United States. Mr. Trump's surprising victory has only made people feel more anxious. If the earth was shaking and moving under your feet before November 8th, it's rocky earth, and the sea is even churning more now. Religious institutions and leaders were already considered untrustworthy before November 8th. Remember, we had sex abuse scandals, financial abuse scandals, prosperity gospel, somebody flying around in jets and riding in Bentleys while people are poor. You know, people had issues with religious folk before November 8th. And then on November 8th, 81% of folks who self-identified as evangelical conservatives cast their votes in favor of Mr. Trump. Now, when I say evangelical conservatives, I'm talking about white Christians, because they're the ones who self-identify as evangelicals. The fact that they voted for Mr. Trump is not likely to make anxious people seek soul shelter in those churches, right? Are you really going to go to church in a congregation where the people are likely to be oppressive and hostile to you if you're an immigrant, if you're not white, if you're not straight, if you're not wealthy, if you're a woman who believes that you have the right to control your body and the decision about when you're going to have a baby and who you're going to have a baby by? I mean, do you really feel like you're likely to go into that kind of church? And is that where you're going to go shelter? No, not likely. Distrust in business and commercial institutions and leaders was high before November 8th. And then we elected a bombastic business tycoon known for using his wealth and his fame and his white maleness as weapons against those who are not wealthy, not famous, not white, not male, not straight, and not able to resort to violent means to achieve their goals. Isn't it interesting? Mr. Trump wasn't the guy who settled before he got elected, but then after he got elected, he paid $25 million to settle a lawsuit saying that he was cheating folks at Trump University. Hello? He had the money before November 8th. He had the money. He knew what the claims were before November 8th. But he waited until after the election to settle the money. Who would trust a business climate led by someone like that? And there is high distrust in civic leadership. People are reeling after seeing FBI Director James Comey use his stature as head of the nation's leading law enforcement and investigation agency to influence the outcome of the 2016 presidential election. They are shaken by news that operatives from Russia hacked into private conversations of political campaign workers, and dismayed after learning from the leaked documents that leaders at the highest levels of the Democratic National Committee schemed to manipulate news reports to harm Senator Bernie Sanders' efforts to become President of the United States. At the local, at the state, at the national levels, people do not feel good, are not settled, or don't feel comfortable about civic leadership. So the day-to-day, the sit-rep condition of people in our society and world is unstable, it's uncertain, it's uneasy. From climate change to civic, social, and religious and other institutions, people feel afraid. anxious, angry, and alarmed. Meanwhile, we seem to be constantly receiving spot rep updates that inform us that things are getting worse. Spot rep, a member of a Blevins, Arkansas school district, posts a selfie of himself in blackface, along with photographs praising the Confederate flag and his personal firearms. Spot rep, the economic development director of Clay County, West Virginia, posts on social media statements comparing First Lady Michelle Obama to an ape. And then the mayor of Clay, Virginia, gives her, you go there, girl, where to go? Spot rep, white teenagers taunt Latino high school and college schoolmates. Spot rep, women and girls are being berated and teased and harassed. Spot rep, folks are bringing Confederate flags to parades and traveling around. Spot rep, the climate is becoming more threatening because of the deviant and defiant incivility of white male supremacists. Spot rep, white Christian nationalists and white male supremacists are having a field day, celebrating how their forces not only contributed to the election of Donald Trump, but blocked President Obama's nomination of Judge Merrick Garland to the U.S. Supreme Court. Recall not only that they blocked it, but that Senate Majority Leader and Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley said, we will not have any confirmation hearings for Judge Garland, and that Senator John McCain said before the election, even if Hillary Clinton is elected, we still won't have. Spot rep. Donald John Trump's election has dismayed journalists, has produced anxiety among U.S. allies, has emboldened adversaries of the United States in Russia, China, Iran, and elsewhere. Hardliner and imperialist leaders across the globe are bolder, while people concerned about human rights, social justice, protection of the environment, care of immigrants, poor people, homeless people, workers, the elderly, disabled, and other vulnerable people are troubled. And honest faith admits these realities. Honest faith admits that the earth moves. Honest faith admits the uncertainty and the anxiety triggered by these realities. Honest faith admits that earth can and does quake, that mountains can and do tremble, that oceans can and do churn. Honest faith doesn't act like every day is always Saturday in the park. Honest faith admits that we live in a world of real dangers, real threats, real enemies to justice and peace and generosity. Honest faith admits that we live in a world troubled by people who worship empire and greed. Honest faith admits that we live in a world made dangerous by purveyors of violence and fear and rage and hate, unbelief and deceit. Yet, somebody say yet. Yet we will not fear. That's what the psalmist says. God is our help and our refuge, a mighty help in a time of trouble. Yet, that last three-letter word of the disjunctive mood. Yet, but we will not fear. We will not fear because we know who God is. We know God. We will not fear because we know God is our God. Not mountains of politicians, not mountains of money, not mountains of political alliances, not mountains of weapons, not mountains of votes, not mountains of anything. God is our God. We will not fear because we know who God is. God is our refuge, our hiding place, our shelter, our covering in stormy and destabilizing forces and conditions. God is our strength, our ally, our protector, our guardian, our champion, the Lord of hosts. Every time you see that in Scripture, the Lord of hosts, that is a military term. The Lord of hosts, the Lord, the captain of the Lord's hosts. The Lord of hosts is with us, not with the haters. Hello? Hello? We will not fear because we know who God is. God is our God, our rock, our shelter, our strength. And then the psalmist does another something. Throughout this psalm, the psalmist repeats stuff. And you got to understand something. When you read in Hebrew text, whenever you see something repeated, that's emphasis. In Hebrew, there are no adjectives for more. It's not like good, better, and greater. Hebrew doesn't have that. So the way you get something ramped up is you repeat it. The more you repeat it, the more emphasis you get. Look in your text now. Look in your text. And what you see is, in this passage, and if you just bear with me, you'll see it. At verse 7, the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. You see it? At verse 11, the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. You see it? It starts out, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. And then we see at verse 7, the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. And then at verse 11, the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. The psalmist is trying to say, did you hear me the first time? The psalmist is pushing it. The psalmist is emphasizing. Every once in a while, when I was growing up, Grandma would say, did you hear me? She wasn't any way far away from me when she said, do you hear me? Than she was when he said the first time. Did you hear me? Boy, I'm talking to you. Did you hear me? The psalmist in this passage is saying, did you hear me? The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. God is our help and strength, a very present help in time of trouble. The Lord of hosts is with us. Did you hear me? The God of Jacob is our refuge. Did you hear me? The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Did you hear me? But then the psalmist really goes subversive. Because we read, the Lord of hosts is with us, and the God of Jacob is our refuge, and we think the psalmist just said the same thing. But you got to remember who Jacob is. Remember Jacob? Jacob was that sneaky, cunning, conniving, deceitful, scheming, treacherous, second son of Isaac, who used his comfort and his meal as a means of personally enriching himself by looking at his hungry brother Esau and saying, I know you hungry and I know I'm your brother, but I'm not going to feed you unless you promise to give me your birthright. I know I ain't got no right to it, but I got food and you hungry. And the psalmist said, the God of that guy is with us. You recall Jacob. Jacob is the dude who later shows up with his mama dressed like his older brother because his daddy is blind and they together sneak up and trick his daddy out of the promised birthright that he knows his older brother is entitled to get, the blessing. And the psalmist says, the God of Jacob. I mean, it kind of blows your mind. God, why would you side with? We read that. It's not, Jacob doesn't get through. Recall, Jacob is sent by his mama to live with his uncle Laban because his mama realizes that Esau is so not forevermore mad. There's a word we would use for it in the street, but I can't use it because y'all hold. Jacob, Esau is peeved. Esau has a first-class case of, I don't like Jacob, and I will catch him as soon as I can find a way to get rid of him when daddy and mama ain't around. And so Jacob's mama said, boy, you better go live with Uncle Laban. And when he goes and lives with Uncle Laban, he promises to work for Uncle Laban for 7 years for the hand of his girlfriend, his first cousin, actually. Hello? I love when folks talk about biblical marriages. His first cousin, and Uncle Laban tricks Jacob. The schemer gets out schemed. And then Jacob says, I'm going to get you back. I'm going to take over your herd. And Jacob uses his knowledge of animal husbandry to breed the strongest of Uncle Laban's flock and take off with them. Hello? And the psalmist in Psalm 46 says, the God of that Jacob is with us. Preacher, where are you going with this? Where are you going with this? Look at somebody and says, we have met Jacob, and Jacob is us. No, back up. Say, we have met Jacob, and Jacob is us. Oh, come on now, you got to say it right. We have met Jacob, and Jacob is us. You recall, Pogo, we have met the enemy, and the enemy are us. Guess what? We are like Jacob. Oh, no. Oh, don't. Are you in church now? Don't forget. Don't forget. We have sneaked, tricked, lied about how good we are, or used our influence to get over on other people, and we get mad when other people use their influence to go over us. But notice something. The psalmist says we all kind of jacked up. Remember, the psalmist uses the same pronouns in verse 7 and 11 as the psalmist uses in verse 1. God is the Lord of hosts is with us. You can't get around that. The Lord of Jacob, the God of Jacob is with us. The folks in us and folks in our are the same folk. Hello? I'm messing with somebody this morning. Because you see, we all want to feel very, very righteous about how wrong other folks are behaving to us, but the truth be told, we all have some Jacob. Remember, we hear folks say, you're the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and we say that in our prayers. We forget who Jacob is. Hello? Remember? Okay, so what are we going with this? The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is with us. What is this mean to us? It means God is our refuge and our strength, and God knows who we are. Anyway, God is our refuge, and God knows who we are anyway. You understand, we would like to believe that God protects us because we just so deserve protection because we're so good. But the psalmist says, the Lord is our protector. The Lord of hosts is with us, and the God of Jacob is with us. God is with us, knowing who we are. God knows us. I love it. The psalmist says, Lord, thou hast searched me and tried me. You know my down sitting and my uprising. Even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. You know me. You know me. Oh, yeah, I can fool some other folk. You can fool some other folk, but we can't fool God. And so here we have it. The psalmist says, our help, our refuge, our protection, our shelter is in God who knows we are. We some bad folk. Well, Reverend, where's the good news? I didn't come to church for you to tell me how we bad folk. I come to church so you can tell me I'm good folk. And you're going to tell me I'm like Jacob, that low-down, cunning, deceitful, brother hating, daddy stealing from, mama manipulating, uncle cheating, child of God. Have mercy. Well, where's the good news? Go to the spot rep. Go to the spot rep. Fast forward to Luke. You recall Luke. You recall Luke. Instead of fear, we look past Donald Trump. We look past the trouble. We look past the mountains quaking, and we look past Trump to Christ. We will not look to the king of the American empire, but we look to the king of Calvary. The lesson from Luke places us in the spot rep of Calvary, not Trump Tower. Not Trump Tower, but Calvary. At Calvary, we are there with the thief who is like Jacob. Hello? You recall, Jacob was a thief. And at Calvary, where do we find God? Hanging with the thief. At Calvary, the thief is there, and so is Jesus. At Calvary, our shortcomings and our failings are on full display, hung up, stretched out on public display, and so is Jesus. At Calvary, we are ridiculed as defeated people, despondent people, marginalized people, vilified people, and so is Jesus. The ridiculed Christ is with us. The praying for enemies anyhow Christ is with us. The Christ who claims us when nothing looks hopeful is with us. The Christ who claims us when we have no place to go is with us. Where could that thief go? Where could that thief go? Jesus, remember me when you enter your kingdom. I got nowhere to go. You going somewhere. Remember me. Look at somebody and say, Christ ain't Donald Trump. Now, I know I split a verb, and therefore, for those of you who are insistent on grammatical correctness, look at somebody and say, Christ is not Donald Trump. Jesus Christ is with us in this Calvary moment marked by the latest version of American greed, the latest version of American imperialism, the latest version of American racism. Racism didn't start with Donald Trump. He's just the latest version of it. Sexism didn't start with Donald Trump. He's just the latest version of it. Imperialism didn't start with Donald Trump. He's just the latest example of it. Homophobia didn't start with Donald Trump. He's just the 2016 brand. Xenophobia, hatred of immigrants didn't start with Donald Trump. He's just the new old model. You understand, if you come out with a new model of the same old bad product, you can call it new, but it's still the same old thing. And Jesus Christ has a message for us. Sit rep. Jesus Christ says to us, each and all of us, at verse 43, I tell you today, you will be with me. Where? Got nowhere to go? Come with Jesus. You an immigrant? Haters don't want you? Hang with Jesus. We have a place with Christ today. We have a place with Christ tomorrow. We have a place with Christ always. God is our help in Jesus Christ. God is our rock in Jesus Christ. God is our strength in Jesus Christ. And so we will not fear. We will not hide. We will not cringe. Instead, we will shout hallelujah and say, great is the Lord and greatly to be praised. We'll say, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? In the time of trouble, he shall hide me. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He leads me beside what? He leads me in where? Green path. He restores my. He leads me in the paths of, for his name's sake. Yes, I walk through valleys that are dark and deadly, yet I will what? For what? Thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And yeah, there are folks who are hateful, don't want me to have nothing. But notice what the psalmist says in Psalm 23. You prepare a table before me in their face, make them bring the food, make me sit down and eat, and make them have to watch me while I eat. You understand? The Lord is my rock and my salvation. When you got God as your rock, you can eat and the enemies can't do nothing about it. No wonder the psalmist had to end his sermon by saying, surely. Now, in the old days, the preacher goes, surely. You know, they rub back, surely. But the truth of the matter is, it is the certainty that we know who God is that allows us to say, the Lord is my rock and my salvation. I will not fear. Amen.